The old family portrait showed my face, yet I had never been in it. I stared at the canvas, completely paralyzed, knowing with absolute certainty that I was never there. How did this painting even end up in my possession? It all began 3 weeks earlier, when the legal letter arrived announcing my estranged uncle had passed away. I traveled to the desolate coastal cliffs to inspect his sprawling, neglected estate. The heavy oak front door creaked open, welcoming me into decades of undisturbed dust and silence. Inside, the air smelled of damp earth and old paper. Dust motes danced lazily in the weak beams of sunlight filtering through grimy, salt-crusted windows overlooking the churning gray ocean. My task was simple: catalog the valuables and clear the attic. I climbed the creaking wooden stairs, each step echoing loudly through the hollow, empty corridors of the silent house. Boxes of forgotten heirlooms filled the cramped space. I sifted through yellowed photographs, broken clocks, and leather-bound journals, detailing lives I knew nothing about before today. Tucked away behind a stack of moth-eaten velvet curtains lay a large, heavy object wrapped in burlap. My curiosity flared instantly as I reached out to pull it free. I wiped away decades of grime from the ornate golden frame. Beneath the dirt, a Victorian family sat stiffly upon velvet chairs, their eyes painted with unsettling, lifelike realism. Fascinated by the artistry, I decided to take it home with me. It felt wrong to leave the forgotten ancestors abandoned in the dark attic of a decaying house. Back at my own modest apartment, I carefully propped the painting against the living room wall. It dominated the space, casting a strange, heavy aura over the entire room. That night, as I sat reading on the couch, my gaze kept drifting back to the canvas. The painted figures seemed to watch me with a quiet, judgmental intensity. I turned off the lights and went to sleep, dismissing my paranoia as fatigue. But the silence of the apartment felt unusually heavy, thick with unspoken secrets. Morning light brought reassurance. I drank my coffee while studying the portrait in daylight, noting the intricate brushstrokes and the faded elegance of the Victorian clothing. By the fourth night, something felt wrong. The composition of the family group seemed slightly altered, though I could not quite put my finger on the exact difference. I searched through my phone for a photo I had taken when I first found it. Comparing the digital image to the physical canvas sent a cold shiver down my spine. A figure had been added to the left corner. A woman in a dark Victorian dress stood behind the patriarch, a woman who definitely was not there when I unpacked it. I laughed nervously, telling myself my memory was failing. Paintings do not change overnight. It was just an optical illusion caused by the flickering shadows of my lamp. The next morning, local news flashed on my television. A woman living 3 blocks away had mysteriously vanished from her home during the night, leaving all her belongings behind. I rushed back to the painting, my breath caught in my throat. The woman in the dark Victorian dress on the canvas bore an uncanny resemblance to the missing neighbor. Panic set in. I grabbed a heavy bedsheet and draped it over the frame, desperate to block it from my sight. I tried to convince myself it was just a bizarre coincidence. Sleep refused to come. Every creak of the floorboards sounded like footsteps. I lay staring at the dark doorway, listening to the wind howling against the apartment windows. In the dead of night, a distinct sound drifted from the living room. It was a soft, rhythmic scratching sound, like dry fabric rubbing against heavy wooden frames. I crept into the living room, my flashlight beam cutting through the gloom. The bedsheet I had thrown over the painting was slowly sliding down to the floor. I approached slowly and gasped. A second new face had appeared on the canvas overnight. A young man with glasses, smiling stiffly right beside the patriarch. By noon, social media was ablaze with local panic. A local college student, known for wearing thick glasses, had vanished from his dorm room without a single trace. Rational thought abandoned me. I grabbed a pair of heavy kitchen shears, determined to slash the cursed canvas to ribbons and end this nightmare once and for all. As the blades touched the painted surface, they scraped against solid, unyielding iron. The canvas was no longer fabric. It had transformed into impenetrable metal. I tried to pick up the frame to throw it out the window, but it was fused to the wall as if bolted deep into the building's structural foundation. Desperate for historical context, I drove back to my late uncle's coastal estate. Perhaps his journals held the dark secret behind this malevolent heirloom. In the dusty study, I found my uncle's final journal open on the desk. The ink was frantic, scrawled with a madness that mirrored my own growing terror. The pages revealed a horrifying truth. A century ago, the family patriarch made a dark pact with a painter, trading mortal souls to preserve their lineage in oil. The painting required a continuous offering. Every few days, a new life was claimed, dragged from the real world, and trapped forever within the suffocating layers of paint. I returned to my apartment, feeling like a condemned prisoner walking to the gallows. The portrait waited for me, its painted figures seeming closer than before. I counted the people inside the frame. 7 figures now populated the canvas. 7 missing people from our city, trapped in a silent, eternal purgatory. Night after night, the figures shifted positions. They huddled closer together, leaving an unnatural empty space right in the center of the crowded composition. I stopped sleeping entirely. I sat in an armchair opposite the canvas, keeping a vigil with a bright flashlight, refusing to let the darkness claim another moment. At 3:00 a.m., a strange sound broke the silence. A single thick drop of crimson paint slowly trickled down from the corner of the golden picture frame. Then came the voices. Faint, ghostly whispers emanated from the canvas, echoing softly in the quiet room like wind blowing through dry autumn leaves. Slowly, the painted figures turned their heads away from the center. Every single pair of oil-painted eyes locked directly onto me, sitting across the room. I tried to stand, but my legs refused to obey. An invisible, heavy force pinned me to the armchair, holding me captive in front of the living portrait. The empty space in the center of the canvas began to ripple. Swirls of oil paint shifted and molded themselves into a familiar shape right before my eyes. And then I understood the opening horror. The old family portrait showed my face, yet I had never been in it. I was the final piece. My hands began to lose their color. Looking down, I watched my fingers dissolve into translucent brushstrokes, turning into pigment before my very eyes. A powerful suction pulled at my chest. I felt myself being dragged across the room, leaving the physical world behind to join the silent gallery on the wall. The final face to disappear was mine. As my eyes met the canvas, my entire body crossed the threshold, sealing into the heavy golden frame forever. Silence reclaimed the apartment. The living room was completely empty, save for the large Victorian portrait hanging quietly against the dark wallpaper under the lamplight. Inside the frame, time stood still. I stood frozen alongside the other victims, our painted eyes staring out into an empty room that we would never leave. We wait in the dark for the next unsuspecting soul to inherit the cursed estate, find the hidden canvas, and hang it on their living room wall. The curse feeds on curiosity and inheritance. As long as there are forgotten family homes and dusty attics, the portrait will always find a new keeper. Somewhere out there, another distant relative is sorting through old boxes, unaware of the terrifying legacy waiting quietly in the shadows for them. We remain trapped in the paint, watching the empty room change as years pass by, forever bound to the canvas that stole our faces and our lives. Sometimes, through the layers of oil and varnish, we can hear the faint footsteps of a new tenant walking into the apartment, holding a flashlight in the dark. If you ever find an old portrait in a forgotten attic, burn it immediately. Do not clean the frame. Do not hang it on your wall. Learn from my mistake before the canvas shifts in the dead of night, and your own face becomes just another painted memory trapped behind glass. Some secrets are better left buried in the dark, and some faces were never meant to be seen staring back at you from a family portrait. As the clock strikes midnight once again in our eternal prison, we watch the empty space on the canvas widen, ready for the next soul to join us. The shadows lengthen across the gallery floor, whispering secrets of the damned to anyone brave enough to listen to the painted canvas in the dark. We are the portrait now. We are the family history written in blood and oil, waiting forever in the silent, suffocating dark of the cursed frame. Remember this tale when you check your own walls tonight. Make sure the faces looking back at you belong to people you actually recognize. Because the moment you see a stranger's face smiling back from your past, it is already far too late to run away. If this chilling story kept you awake tonight, hit subscribe, share with a brave friend, and drop a comment below. Stay safe out there.